swaying left, swaying right. Endless blue from day to night. Siren calling, feel the breeze, taste the ocean, salty seas. Siren calling, hearts collide, paradise where dreams reside. Barbecue smoke fills the air. Street stalls glow without a care. Red rice served with love so true. Callaghan shining in the view. Drums pounding in the distance. Dance ignites the night's persistence. Siren calling, feel the breeze, taste the ocean, salty seas. Siren calling, hearts collide, paradise where dreams reside. Tomorrow chants, they rise, they fall. History carved in every wall. Tibian whispers, ancient lore. Siren soul forevermore. Siren calling, feel the breeze, taste the ocean, salty seas. Siren calling, hearts collide, paradise where dreams reside. Siren calling, feel the breeze, taste the ocean, salty seas. Siren calling, hearts collide, paradise where dreams reside. Dreams reside. Dreams
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President Trump says the U.S. has been talking with a respected Iranian leader and tells reporters the Islamic Republic is eager for a deal to end the war.
All I'm saying is we are in the throes of a real possibility of making a deal. And I think if I were a betting man, I'd bet for it. But again, I'm not guaranteeing anything. They want to make a deal very badly.
Iran denies negotiations have been held with the U.S., the parliament speaker calling it fake news to manipulate the financial and oil markets. Still, Iran's foreign minister said earlier he had spoken with his counterpart in Turkey, which has served as an intermediary in past talks. And Egypt's president said clear messages have been delivered to Iran on de-escalating the conflict. John Gambrell has more from Dubai.
All this comes as Iran had threatened to target electrical sites, desalination plants, and even the United Arab Emirates' 4-reactor nuclear plant at Baraka out in its western desert. All of these sites would have been critical for survival in the Gulf Arab states, just showing the stakes of what was happening and how it could have spiraled into an even further escalation.
As for the markets, oil prices fell, Brent crude settling below $100 per barrel. That boosted stocks. The S&P climbed 1.1%, while the Dow and the Nasdaq each added about 1.4%. In other news, an Air Canada jet collided with a fire truck while landing at New York's LaGuardia Airport last night, killing 2 pilots and injuring several people. Officials say the fire truck had been cleared to cross the tarmac to check on another plane. And Mark Sherman reports the Supreme Court heard arguments today over mail-in ballots.
The court's conservative majority sounded open to ruling out laws in 14 states and the District of Columbia that allow ballots that arrive after Election Day to be counted.
This is AP News. If Paris is in your travel plans, you may be interested to know the city's elected a new mayor. Our Sylvie Corbet reports he's a 48-year-old socialist, Emmanuel Gregoire.
Shortly after his victory, Grégoire took a ride through Paris on a city bike, a symbolic nod to his promise to make the city greener. His campaign focused heavily on housing, putting more restrictions on touristic rentals like Airbnb, which he says are pushing residents out of the city. He pledged to create tens of thousands of affordable housing units. Grégoire wants to fight overcrowding in places like the Louvre Museum and Montmartre neighborhood by highlighting less visited sites. He also promised to continue cleaning up the River Seine and expanding bike lanes across the French capital.
Sylvie Corbet reporting from Paris. There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
If you see something, say something. And stay anonymous. Call Crime Stoppers at 234-7272 or submit a tip online at nmicrimestoppers.com. No names, no caller ID, no recordings, just your info. And if your tip leads to an arrest, you could earn up to $1,000 in cash. Your tips have helped take hundreds of criminals off the streets in the NMI. It works because of you. Crime Stoppers, we want your information, not your name. PHI is your local pharmacy serving customers in Cagman, Garapan, and Dandan since 1996. Shop PHI Pharmacy for all your prescriptions, and we even offer a large line of multivitamin supplements. Our Dandan location is open weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 4 on weekends. Or visit our Garapan and Cagman locations weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 1 on Saturdays. Check us out online at phipharmacy.com or follow us on Facebook. PHI is a locally owned independent community Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care. Are you or someone you know living with a mental illness? Have you experienced abuse or neglect, denial of services, or discrimination because of a mental illness or disability? You have rights. NM Posse is the Northern Marianas Protection and Advocacy Systems Incorporated, and we're here for you. Individuals diagnosed with mental illness have human, civil, and legal rights under federal and local law. No one should be mistreated, denied services, or discriminated against because of a disability. NM Posse's PIME program provides protection and advocacy for individuals with mental illness, and provides information about your rights, advocacy and assistance for eligible individuals, and support in cases involving abuse, neglect, or discrimination. Services are confidential and provided at no cost to eligible individuals. To learn more, call NM Posse today at 670-235-7273 or 7274, or email gborja@nmposse.org.
Alarm clock bark, sky still gray, radio clicks on, static haze. Good morning, Marianas, in my face. Brad yelling, wake up, Saipan, no escape. Coffee burns my lip, he laughs in my kitchen. Talks like he knows every bruise that I am in. Good morning, Marianas. Rise up, Saipan. Hearts on the harbor, headlines in his hand. Good morning, Marianas. Live from the reef to the ridge. Bread with the weather and a dare on the bridge. Traffic on Beach Road, kids half dressed. He jokes about rain and unpaid rent. Says call the show, tell me what you regret. Then plays our song like a second chance bet. He says, say your name, we say it like a prayer. Through busted speakers, we are almost there. Good morning, Marianas. Rise up, Saipan. Shacks and condos all sing with the fan. morning, Marianas. Old scars, new daylight. Brad talks nonsense, somehow gets it right. Who is this voice in my cracked dashboard? Why does it feel like he is keeping score of every tired island soul dragged out of bed? Every maybe I will make it spinning in my head. Good morning, Marianas. Rise up, Saipan. Bad roads, good stories, all part of the plan. Good morning, Marianas. Yeah, shout it again. Brad says you are awake, so start living it then.
Good morning, Marianas. Holy cow, it is some 43 here on Tuesday morning. It is Covenant Day out here in the NMI. Happy Covenant Day to all of you out there. Thanks for joining us today. It is Good Morning Marianas. It's a great day because every day here in the Marianas is a heck of a lot better than when you're going to get anywhere else in the world. It is rainy though. It's 76 degrees outside, so it's cold out there and it is going to be wet. But don't let that dampen your spirits on Covenant Day because we got a lot of great stuff to talk to you about. We've got a lot of great events happening throughout the day that we're going to talk about as well. But it is a little rainy. Sorry guys, that's what you get. There's a rip current statement out there all the way until 5 o'clock tonight. A rip current statement until 5 p.m. tonight. So be careful if you're going to get out there on the beaches, especially on those east-facing exposures. That's always where the headaches happen to be. So 76 degrees, humidity's at 97% up there at that Saipan International Airport. That's got a lot to do with all that rain that's going on now. What do we got today? Scattered showers, partly sunny skies. I don't know what part, but eventually it's partly. High near 85 today. It's going to be gusty. Gusts as high as 21 miles per hour and a 40% chance of rain. Well, it's raining right now. Tonight's going to die down a little bit. Gusts are going to go from that 21 miles per hour down to 20 miles per hour. Ooh, I wonder how that works. How do you know within 1 mile per hour? Also, the precipitation is going to go down 30%. Tomorrow, we're looking at the almost exactly the same thing, only it's going to be a little bit warmer, high near 87. It's going to be gusty as well. That wind's going to pick up overnight because looking at gusts as high as 24 miles per hour tomorrow. It's probably going to rain again. And that's basically it. But it says on Thursday, mostly sunny skies. So fingers crossed, because that's going to be the Women's Summit that we're going to be broadcasting you from the Multipurpose Center. Looking forward to that. Can't complain about it at all. It is great. My goodness, what a day we have in store for you. But before we get to that, we have to get you to work. So we're going to let you know how things are looking out on the road. So let's get down there right now. Let's take a look, because the folks at Atkins Kroll don't just want to get you a car. They want to get you to where you need to go. All right, let's take a look. You can see just that overlook. There's a few hot spots out there, and that all has to do with those intersections. So let's go over there by AK, where things are looking pretty good in Puerto Rico right now. Just a little stop and go over there by the lights, all of the lights, by the way. And they're all that red and yellow. It's got that McDonald's feel to it. There's no green going on out there. It's mostly all red and yellow, especially over there by the museum, where that's going to be a popular place today. Again, there's stuff happening all over today, and some of it's indoor, some of it's outdoor. My guess, my crystal ball says we're going to be more focused on the indoor events today on Covenant Day. Quartermaster Road, there's a bunch of traffic going on right meow. So expect a little bit of a delay when you're going through there. Don't be in a hurry today. Take your time. Everything's closed. Well, schools are closed. Government offices are closed. So just chill. Oh, I know you private school guys, you're going to be going to school today, but today is a special day. I would think Mount Carmel might be closed today because that's where they signed the covenant here all those many years ago, but maybe not. Maybe they got school today. The old AK intersection, a little busy right now where folks are making their way over there, just like the intersection that matters at the place where connections matter, IT&E. The Chalonquilla area, just a little bit sluggish, but that's going to be because people are playing it smart and safe on these wet and slippery roads out there. Even over there by Subway in Chalonquilla, looking a little bit congested. But Guangdong Hardware intersection, a lot of people want to go past there and pick stuff up. Today be a great day to get some of those home projects done, and Guangdong Hardware is a good place to go and get those things. A little bit of traffic making your way up there on Chalon-Monsignor Martinez as you get to the CMG. A lot of folks over there trying to get up and down the hill and get to the Ville. But I'll tell you right now in San Vicente, there is traffic aplenty and there's no school. So what's going on? I know there's a bula traffic over there by the old roundhouse that doesn't exist anymore, but maybe that's just because everyone wants to see you. That's why. They might, oh, geez, look at that. What happened? There we go. Hey, this is live. Anything could happen. All right, hey, we're looking around Issa Drive and making our way around the back Island Road. Is that going to get a new name? Well, we're going to find out soon. By the way, that brings us all the way back to where we began, and things are looking pretty good. Speaking of looking pretty good, you're going to look pretty good behind the wheel of your brand new Corolla Cross with your $2,500 down payment assistance and 3 years of free service from Toyota here at Atkins Corolla. It is the coolest. I'm telling you, that Toyota Highlander, well, that's even cooler than that. More down payment assistance, and you can find this out by giving them a call at 234-5911. You think that's cool? Well, get one more higher. Go over to the Toyota 4Runner and see if you can't take it anywhere in Saipan that you want to go. Well, the first thing, though, is you need to go down to AK and say, hey, what can you do for me? And they're going to have plenty of answers for you in that regard. They're going to love you just as much as you're going to love that new ride. All right, well, let's get back to it, folks. We are here. It is Good Morning Marianas, and it is Tuesday morning here. It is March 24th. It is Covenant Day. This is a big deal for us because this is the day that we became official. We have a constitution. We have a covenant. We have agreement where we are working with the United States, and we're going to be pals, and everything's going to be perfect forever. Okay, maybe not perfect, but we are working on it. And the best part about it is that it is an evolving relationship. Just like the Constitution is a living document, the relationship with the United States is an evolving relationship where we figure out the best ways to work together. And yeah, it might not always seem perfect, and it might not seem like we got everything figured out, but the cool thing is that we are together and we're going to figure all that stuff out. It's kind of like a marriage, really. When you're married, it's perfect every day. I know it. Okay. But you learn so much more about each other the longer that you are together, and you learn what works and what doesn't work. And over time, you just are buoyed by the fact that you know that you're going to be together and you're going to get through whatever challenges come your way. So that's kind of what we've got going on right now. All right. Well, you know what is going our way? You guys are going our way. Let's take a look at you guys in the comments, see who's here with us. Evelyn Cago is with us. Says, good morning, Brad and Eric. Hey, both of us. It's great. Thank you so much for being here. It's so nice to see you in the comments every day. Caleb is back. Says, Biba Tuesday and good morning. Great to see you this morning, too. Angoshman Capileo says, good morning, Marianas. Happy Covenant Day, Brad and viewers. And happy Covenant Day to you, too. Thanks so much. I love that, Kayla. He says, I see Brad, and I say good morning. Well, good morning to you, too. And I'm also here to help you with your addiction. He says, I'm mentally addicted to NMI News. I love it. Pat Itamar says, good buenas lesor, Marianas. Happy Covenant Day. Jack Sablon says, buenas. Good morning. Good to see you guys, both of you guys. Thanks so much for being here. Wasim SSL says hello. Well, hello to you too. Thanks for being here with us. PJ Victoria, all the way out there in the Pacific Northwest. So great to see you. I'm telling you, I get a smile every time I see you pop in the comments. Kika GS is with us. Says, good morning, CNMI. And it is Covenant Day. And it says, happy birthday to my mom, Delia. That's from PJ. Wow, man, I hope she's watching. I hope she can hear it. Craig Conundrum says September weather in late March. Yeah, forget it. I don't know, but Landon says it is uncharacteristic weather that we've got these days. But
this is what we got. At least we didn't have any wildfire threats this year. That's been pretty good. We've been dealing with it, all this rain. Ignacio Del Cruz says, Buenas, CNMI, happy Covenant Day. Happy Covenant Day indeed. Ina Atau, buenas, great to see you, and good morning. Eric Mopness, our veteran brother, is here again. He says, happy birthday, Anta Delia. Have a blessed and wonderful birthday filled with love, happiness, and joy. The nicest guy saying the nicest things again. Kurt Barnes says, good morning, Brad from Elk Grove, California. Great to see you, Kurt. So great to see you. And you've been around here, and you've seen plenty of Covenant Days. You've seen a lot of changes here in the Commonwealth, and it's great that you get to see this day with us today. Covenant's still a baby. Just don't let Papa take all the tools. Yeah, that's right, Caleb. No doubt about it. Who we got? Kina Chong saying, good morning, everyone from Texas. Good morning to you all the way out there in the Lone Star State. And Raina Oveni saying, good morning, CNMI, and happy Covenant Day. Happy Covenant Day, indeed. It really is great. By the way, apologies to all you guys who tried to tune in yesterday when we were in Rhoda and you were trying to tune in on YouTube. Here in the hub of the NMI News Service, we've got all the fancy fiber from the good folks over at IT&E. That's why we have such a great connection. And we're able to throw everything out there on both platforms. But while we were there at As Paris, and we have our mobile stuff, we don't want to risk having a bad connection, so we just kept it to one. We're going to upload yesterday's episode for you guys on YouTube, so you'll be able to see it too. But Dispensazu, that's just the way to do it to make sure that we can get it out there quicker. Hey, Eric Mopna says also, good morning, Marianas, Brad, and everyone listening to this wonderful station on this wonderful Covenant Day. Have a safe and blessed day. Enjoy the holiday. Yeah, and everybody, by the way, be safe out there on the roads. It is wet. It is slippery out there. It is still raining. And I can hear it in the background. I can hear the tires pass by over those wet roads. So I know it's slick. So be careful out there. By the way, we have really cool guests coming in here this morning. We got folks from PDI, the Pacific Development, the tourism group, like Gordon's group. Yeah, they're coming in here today with an author, Dan King, who's going to talk about this trip and what they've got going on out here in the Marianas. They've got some veterans that they're taking through. We're going to see them later. We've got some medallions for them later when we go and meet some of the folks who are part of their tour group, and that's going to be exciting as well. All right, and man, there's so much going on today. And I don't know what you guys have going on for lunch, but I can tell you, if you're craving something delicious, you swing by Surf Club Saipan and treat yourself to their mouth-watering lunch specials. They've got good vibes, great food, and unbeatable ocean views. You can even look great on rainy days. They're available daily from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and you can visit Surf Club Restaurant today. Come on in, yeah. You can visit Surf Club Restaurant today or give them a call at 235-1122. to place your order in advance. If you want to do a takeout, they do that as well. Surf Club, you got to love it, man. We do, and they love us too. So here we are enjoying all that. Now, in about 5 minutes, we're going to get our guests in here and on here with you. You'll be able to see them on camera. It's going to be a lot of fun. But first, let me get you a sports update. Some big news for the NFL coming from Fox Sports.
Fox Sports Update.
We'll begin with the NCAA tournament. Iowa State moving on to the Sweet 16. They do so after handling Kentucky.
Just too much to overcome against this kind of a team. Here we go upstairs. What a call.
CBS on the call as the Cyclones advance with a convincing 82-63 win. Iowa State coach TJ Otzelberger all about his team.
We want to be consistent with how we work every single day. Our team's been playing great basketball, so this is the time of year you want to keep getting better. So get back to the practice floor. Let's get better.
All right, once again, the courtesy to CBS television. Meanwhile, Purdue also advances. They bounce Miami 79-69. Up next for Purdue, the Texas Longhorns. How about St. John's pulling off the rare buzzer beater? Last second shot for the Red Storm coming courtesy of Dylan Darling. Johnny.
Join Fox in supporting our troops. From daily needs to global emergencies, help us be there for those who serve. Visit go.fox/Red Cross to donate to service to the armed forces today.
Eliminate Kansas 67-65. Elsewhere, according to reports, Syracuse working to finalize a deal to hire Siena coach Jerry McNamara as the school's next head coach. Providence has hired Brian Hodgson as its next head coach. He comes over from South Florida. NBA news, Oklahoma City's Jalen Williams off the injury report. He'll return to action Monday against the Sixers. He hasn't played nearly 2 months. The league has rescinded the 16th technical foul on Luka Doncic. That means he'll play in Monday's road game against the Pistons. Golf, final round of the Valspar. Matt Fitzpatrick birdies the 71st hole, hangs on to win by 1 over David Lipsky. NASCAR, Tyler Reddick again. He overcomes early electrical concerns to win the Goodyear 400 at Darlington. The victory is Reddick's 4th in just 6 races here in 2026. For more scores, stories, and features, go to foxsports.com. I'm Jay Berman.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
This is Ainsley Earhart. Thank you for joining me for the 52-episode podcast series, The Life of Jesus.
A listening experience that will provide hope, comfort, and understanding of the greatest story ever told. Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with our guest, Dan King. But before we do that, we got to get you some messages from our sponsors.
Hey, bro, can I grab your bush?
Yeah, man, go for it.
Right on. Thanks, bro. Hey, bro, can I grab your bush too?
Sure, bro. Go ahead.
Thanks.
Now I can grab my own bush. Saipan, it's time to grab your bush. Pick up a 12-pack of ice-cold Bush, and you're in for more than just a refreshing beer. Every 12-pack gives you a chance to win exclusive Bush gear and more. So don't wait. Swing by your favorite store, grab your Bush, and join the fun. Because here in Saipan, the best moments are even better with Bush. Grab your Bush today.
If you think girls and women's equality matter, stand up. If girls and women's sports matter, and you want your daughters to have the same opportunity you had, stand up. If you know that it isn't fair or safe to allow males to compete in girls' sports because it's, well, obvious, stand up. Don't be cowed by people who call you a bigot. You're not a bigot. Don't let men tell us how to be good girls. Don't let others tell you you just need to be quiet. Sit down. Be nice. It's not nice to further a lie. It's not mean to believe in women's equality. We deserve our own sports, privacy, fairness, safety. We deserve a chance to compete and win. So don't be nice. Don't be careful. Be honest. Be brave. Fight for women. We've come too far to give up now. And if you agree with that, stand up and stand with us.
Shiny smiles all around, where happiness is found. It's the little things that make it true. Shiny smiles start with
you. Wake up, sunshine, it's a brand new day. Brad's got the stories that'll light your way. Take a smile on his face, he's he's ready to share. Share. Good morning, Marianas. Feel the love in the air. Air. Good morning, Marianas. Come join the fun. Together we'll shine like the morning sun.
With the waves crashing in, hear the oceans call. Rap brings the news that connects us all. From the islands to the world, goes counting gear. Good morning, Marianas, the best time of year.
Good morning, Marianas. Let's start the day. With laughter and stories, come what may.
All right, welcome back, Marianas. It is 8:02 here on Covenant Day, Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. My gosh, this year is flying by. I know we say that all the time, but there are so many different activities, so many things happening, and you never know what's going to happen next. But today, we got something special. This is one of those special occasions that we get once in a while. Today, we have an author who's written a bunch of books. He's got a couple of them with us here today, and he's going to tell us all about that and his experiences from being here over the years. So we have author Dan King, who's with us here in studio. Dan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
This is really great. I know that Gordon tells me about like your previous trips out here and everything, and you've got just a great grasp of the history out here. And I'd love to hear all about what brought you to it. But first of all, let's tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and how'd you get into writing?
Well, I live in Texas. My wife and I, we have 2 donkeys, 3 cats, 4 dogs, 2 kids, and 2 grandkids. So we got a full house. We have a possum and a raccoon that come by once in a while. But yeah, I get to come out to Saipan every few years, and I love it here. The people are great. The weather today, not so great. But otherwise, it's a beautiful place. And I love the history. The World War II history is fascinating.
When did you get into history? What is it about? Like, I don't know, what time frame did you start?
I was a
getting
little
into?
kid. I loved reading the history books, Custer's Last Stand, the Alamo. I just fascinated by the history. And then I stumbled upon World War II as I got older. And then when I was living in Japan, I started meeting Japanese World War II veterans and hearing their stories. And that was fascinating because all I knew was our side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you're walking along the beach here and you find a coin, you pick it up, and you look at it and you go, that's really neat. Nobody just puts it in their pocket. They want to flip it over and see the other side. So that's what I'm trying to do with this series of books that I have. I've interviewed 105 Japanese World War II veterans, the Navy, Army, submariners, pilots, infantry, tank commanders, and that's where I wrote this book, this one. I don't know if you can see it, but it's called The Iron Graves of Saipan.
Yeah, and I'll put an image of it on the screen too, but if you're holding up, people can see it.
Okay. If you can see it. But it's about the 9th Tank Regiment that fought here on Saipan and Guam. About the men that were sent to Manchuria to defend the border with Russia, and they were pulled down here to the Marianas to defend Guam and Saipan. 4% of them survived the battle to return to Japan, and Mr. Shimoda is one of them.
Wow.
And he's responsible for that tank that's on the beach, on the bunker.
No kidding.
Yeah, he saw that in 1972 when he came back with his wife for like a wedding anniversary. He saw it was in that trash pile, the city dump.
No.
He saw it in the dump and he started crying. And he said, I have to bring these guys home because they were his friends. He knew these guys. So long story short, he was not able to get permission to bring that back to Japan, despite a lot of promises and things happening. But at least he got it pulled out of the garbage dump, and it is no longer sitting in that trash. So
that's incredible.
And he did bring 2 tanks back from Saipan. They were buried in the Tanapag landfill, and he pulled those out in the mid-'70s, dug those out of the ground. One is at Yasukuni. Have you seen that one at the War Shrine in Tokyo?
I haven't.
And the other one's at a shrine out near Fuji at the Wakajishi Temple, where they train the young tank crewmen. So both tanks are now at temples, and they're being prayed over. And One exciting thing is one of the tanks still had a broken sword in it.
No
with the
way.
owner's names etched on the side, and then it had some bones, which the DNA they're able to find the man's family. So they named the whole crew, which I have in my book. I have their names.
You know, have you done any stomping around in the boonies here in Saipan?
Yes, I have.
Have you seen there in Gualarai on the side of a hill? There is a tank that is there, and it is just out there in the boonies, a full tank. Now, sadly, within the last 10 years, somebody went out and cut out the main gun because it was not, it was fully intact before, but it's still there. It looks like maybe it ran out of fuel or had an electrical thing, but it's just there.
It's a Japanese tank?
Japanese tank.
And you know where this is at?
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll talk later.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to see all the tanks on Saipan.
This one's not featured anywhere. It's not like a tourist site or anything. I am the worst hasher because I hardly hash anymore. But the hash runs. And so there's a different trail all the time. But I found it from going on those hash runs, and it's just out there.
Oh, my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stunned. I thought I'd seen all the tanks on Saipan.
No.
Oh my gosh, this is great news. I'm glad I came today.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you came already.
Awesome.
This is awesome. So we'll get you out there. How long are you here? How much time you got left?
I leave on the 26th. Then we're going to Guam, and then to Iwo Jima, and then I'm going to Japan, Hiroshima, and Nagasaki, and then back home to Texas.
I imagine your dance card's pretty full while you're here on this trip, but do you think you got time to go and stomp through some booties to find this thing?
I do.
Okay.
I do, 100%.
Awesome. That's really cool. That's why it was so disheartening when I stumbled upon it again years later and saw that somebody had taken the gun off.
For scrap or something?
I imagine just a treasure hunter, maybe. You know, somebody who just wanted it.
Oh, wow. For a souvenir or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
It is. But, hey, it happens, I guess.
Yeah.
But the rest of it's still there.
Oh, I want to see it.
Okay.
Can I give a quick shameless sale pitch? So I've written actually 5 books so far. Is that showing the book? But there's the book that you have there.
We've got that on the screen.
Yeah, the card.
Yep.
That one,
the Yellow River Boys.
Yeah, the Yellow River Boys. That is a book about my father. He was shot down over North Korea in 1951 by Russian-piloted MiG-15 jets. And he was a gunner in a B-29 stationed at Kadena, and they're trying to take out a bridge over the Yellow River connecting North Korea to China to stop the flow of supplies that were coming illegally from China. Got shot down, spent 2.5 years in a concentration camp run by the Chinese inside North Korea.
Wow.
So that's his story, his crew's story, the POW story, all true. I don't write novels, I only do true, nonfiction. And the other books I have are The Last Zero Fighter. It's here in red. They're all on Amazon if you care to get them. The Last Zero Fighter, fighter pilots that I met in Japan who were at Pearl Harbor, Midway, Wake Island, Guadalcanal, Coral Sea, you name it. They were there, all of these pilots. And a tomb called Iwo Jima. I interviewed an Iwo Jima survivor. I've been to Iwo Jima 16 times now. Number 17 is coming up next week.
Wow.
Interviewed American survivors to get their true stories. Once again, the other side of the coin. And I don't do like, oh, they were good guys too. I don't do that. I just bring the truth, the facts that I research as well. And then there's Blossoms from the Sky, kamikaze pilots, naval pilots that volunteered to fly a rocket bomb that would be dropped by a Betty bomber. And these guys had training and they were just waiting for their turn to go, and the war ended. So I got their stories.
Wow.
And then there's the Saipan book.
Well, let me try to find that Blossoms from the Sky.
It was fascinating.
Excuse me.
I went to Japan. I went everywhere where they had an Oka. I went to go see it. So that's like my philosophy is when I was working in Japan, I worked for Toyota, and they have a motto that says Genshi Genbutsu, go and see. Don't just listen, don't just read about it, go and see. So whenever I'm working on a subject like Saipan, I've been here 5 or 6 times. I have to come see things in person, because when you read about the war or just listen to stories about the war, you really don't quite get a full grasp of how hot it is on Guadalcanal, how much rain falls, examples. But a quick story of Mr. Shimoda, how I met him was I was working as a technical consultant for a movie called Wind Talkers.
Oh, yeah.
And I've done others, Flags of Our Fathers, Letters from Iwo Jima, the Pacific, others, but this was Wind Talkers. And as part of the movie, we had made kind of fake tanks, Japanese tanks, and I gave the art department the correct markings for the 9th Tank Regiment, 3rd, 4th, 5th Tank Companies that were here on Saipan. So when I went into the warehouse, we were filming up at Kaneohe Valley, K Valley, where they filmed Jurassic Park, all those places.
Don't mind me for a second. I'm listening. I'm just going to grab that water as you're telling me.
All right, so we were filming there, and I go into the weapons area, and I check on the weapons, I check on the wardrobe, I check on the vehicles, and then I look at the tanks, and I see they have just big flags painted on the side of the turrets, like big Japanese flags, which is historically inaccurate. It's like comic book, level of inaccuracy. Like there currently is on the tank on the beach, that's completely incorrect markings. That's just someone's fantasy. It's really unfortunate. So I went up to the art department headmaster, leader, and I said, hey, this is not gonna fly. I can't sign off on this. I can't sign off on these markings because I gave you the right markings. Why didn't you do it? And they had all kinds of reasons and excuses, but in the end, when I said, Kevin, what if it's a Japanese veteran somewhere in Japan and he sees the film and he survived the battle and he sees the movie and a legitimately marked tank comes by on screen, he's gonna tell others about it. And then more people will want to see the movie. He said, well, that makes sense. Okay, so they fixed it. So fast forward about a year and a half, I get an email from a gentleman who says, I was in Osaka at a movie theater with my friend, an older man named Shimoda, who's a survivor of the battle. He was a tank crewman, and when the tank went by the screen, he shouted, my tanks, and he lost his mind. So Mr. Shimoda sent me an invitation. The next time you're in Osaka, please come visit me. I want to take you out to dinner and tell you my story. So I was like, wow, you could have knocked me over with a feather. I said it. I said that, a veteran might see it, thinking that would just force him to do a good job, which he's supposed to do anyways. Never would have dreamed that a veteran, a survivor, a tank crewman would see the movie and then want to talk to me. I was blown away. So went to Osaka, met him. He gave me a copy of the memoirs he wrote. Gave me a sake cup that he signed the lid from the Yasukuni Shrine. And thanked me for my hard work. And I thought, that was 2003. And I go, I have to write a book someday about this. And it took some time because I had a lot of other books I had to do first, but now I finally got around to telling Mr. Shimoda's fascinating story of combat on Saipan, survival on Saipan, being a POW on Saipan, and then coming back to Saipan to retrieve those 2 tanks to take back to Japan. It's like this full circle story. I think it's pretty amazing myself.
I'd be fascinated to hear that story about his perspective as a POW here. Just even being a prisoner wasn't something that people were, I would say, aspiring to is the nicest way I could say it. But the experience, because I've heard some quotes from some of the folks before, and what they were able to observe while they were POWs, and hear how that shaped what they thought the future was going to be as they were being repatriated and stuff like that. I bet that must have been a heck of a conversation.
The Japanese mindset, especially the military, explains why so many people were jumping off the cliffs here in the north. And we as Americans, Westerners, most of us have some belief in God and Christianity, and we think, well, killing yourself is a sin, right?
Yeah.
But the Japanese, in my opinion, based on the interviews I've done and the people I've talked to, is there are 2 reasons they did that. One is out of love and fear. They love their children. They love their babies. They didn't want their children to be tortured, murdered, barbecued, whatever, by the barbarians, because they were lied to. And second one is fear. They didn't want to be, tortured, so they would jump off the cliffs. And then you have the military guys, Army and Navy. They often kill themselves because it was against the law to surrender. It was literally against the law. They could be arrested, court-martialed, and even executed for surrendering. In their code of conduct, they have their code of conduct has, it's written in black, but the emperor's words are in red. Like a King James Bible, Jesus' words are in red, just like that. And it says, you shall not surrender, or by any action allow yourself to be captured, like through an injury or sickness or anything. So Mr. Shimoda and his small band of handouts thought about killing themselves many, many times. Because, well, if I got captured and I actually somehow make it back to Japan, I'm going to be rearrested, put in jail, and possibly executed. And my whole family is going to be humiliated and shamed, because that is the ultimate shame to bring onto your family. It affects your kids, your nephews, your cousins, your parents. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but shame is like the worst. Surrender is the worst shame you can commit for the military. So Mr. Shimoda, the reason why he surrendered is because the war was over. And people like Bob Sheeks and Guy Gabaldon were out there, the war's over, come out. And they decided, well, the war's over, right? So technically we're not really soldiers anymore. So they came out on September 13, 1945, expecting to be gunned down.
Wow.
But they're taken to a PW camp and photographs, fingerprints, and they were given medical checkups, food and water, and they're like, what's the catch? Right? When are you going to kill us? And it took a few days for them to realize, wait a minute, we're not going to be executed or murdered or barbecued. And that changed their hearts and minds. Shimoda became this very pro-America. And after the war, he went to Maryland and Virginia and 2 other states to meet former guards that he knew here, American POW guards, because they would give him cigarettes and they would get to know them, and he kind of formed friendships. And then he paid their airfare to Japan to go on trips in Kyoto and stuff.
Wow.
So it was really, really amazing. When you put people together on just the most simplest level, they like each other.
Right? You're right. And, this is something that I really love, and I think it's fascinating because 2 countries that were at war as serious as they were, and like I dated a girl in New York whose grandfather said, you will never drive a Japanese car or you are out of the will, because I was fighting those and all that other stuff. But look at these 2 countries that were at war and how close we are now. I don't know what happened, but I know that it did, and it's great that we're such good friends.
Oh, I totally agree. It's like something happened that it set us off track, because we were friends in 1904-05, the Russo-Japan War, right? Roosevelt negotiated that treaty. We were friends. World War I, they were on our side. They were on the Allied side with Americans and British. And then there was the Bolshevik revolution in Russia. Japanese were on our side, and we were always on the same side. We always were. We were never against each other until that started happening in Manchuria, in Shanghai, and then Pearl Harbor, right? So we were on this really good track together as allied nations and friends. In fact, Japanese Navy sailors would come to San Diego and San Francisco and New York. They do port calls, and I interviewed one Japanese sailor who was sunk on a ship called the Iro in Palau. And he said when the war broke out, they heard that Pearl Harbor had been struck. He goes, oh, I like Pearl Harbor. Oh, they have good food there. Oh, the people are nice there. So in his mind, he was like, why in the world would we attack Pearl Harbor? Because we love Americans, they love us. So there's a lot of confusion, among the regular person. And Mr. Shimoda said the same thing when he heard the war broken out against the Americans. The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. He said, wait, I thought the Russians were our enemies. Because they always told us the Russians are bad guys, and we have tanks, on the border of Russia. And they told us to hate Russia. And they never said anything negative about America. So he was, okay, well, I guess that's our enemy now. So to me, it felt like people up here were doing things, and people down here just want to be left alone and just want to continue their lives, right? So that's just my personal call.
Yeah, well, it's great to see like where the world has gone since the war, right? And so now you're able to tell these stories, and what a great perspective. You know, when I speak to some of my friends who are Japanese, who grew up in Japan, they don't really have a full history, a full grasp of what happened and everything like that. It just wasn't taught the same.
They don't teach it. They just gloss over it. And I asked a teacher in Japan once, and I said, why don't you teach about World War II? And she looked me dead in the eye. She said, well, our history is like 2,000 years long. You know, how do we cover all that history? So we have to cut out certain bits, like the Jomon period when they made clay pots. We just skip over it. And then Pearl Harbor, it's not really important. And they skip over it. And I said, that's not right. You're doing your people an injustice. My first wife was Japanese, and I had a little nephew, and we went to visit their house one time, and he was doing homework, and I say, hey, what are you doing? He goes, I'm studying World War II. And I was like, oh, let me see. I hop over there, and I open this textbook, and there's only 2 pages. And there's a picture of atomic bomb and a picture of the surrender ceremony on the Missouri. And I read through it, and I'm like, hey, where's the Pearl Harbor part? And he says, oh, Uncle Dan, always cracking jokes. I go, no, wait. No, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. You bombed Hawaii. We lost over 2,000 people and many more. He said, okay, Dan-san, that's not nice. That's not a nice joke. I go, oh my gosh. So I called the grandma over. I said, boom, educate him. And she goes, yes, that's why my brother died, old. And she takes this photo of this Japanese Army soldier, black and white, in a frame off the TV stand, shows it to him, and goes, he was killed at Guadalcanal because we killed the Americans. And the kid's just mind blown. Mm-hmm. He was 7th grade, never heard about Pearl Harbor, never asked why that old man's photo was on the TV. And so I think it shocked him that what else are they not telling me, right? And so that's why I thought maybe the Japanese weren't ready to talk about that. But Americans don't hate Japan. Mm-hmm. As far as we're concerned, we love Japan. Pearl Harbor is ancient history. Even the president made a joke about it, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Right? That was, so I thought that was pretty on brand, right, for the president. And when he was saying it, I could almost feel that it was coming, right? I'm like, holy cow. Yeah. I don't know how, I wonder how that was taken, because I thought it was pretty fun. I'm like, oh geez, it
was great. It's like, they did it in Die Hard Part 1 too. If you remember, the character who played Mr. Takagi said to, I forget who was playing the character, he said, well, you got us at we got you at Pearl Harbor, but we got you back at tape decks. They made kind of a joke about it, even back then. So the healing was happening back in the 80s. But we're good. We love they love the cars, we love your electronics, the people are wonderful. So we can joke about the past. Mm-hmm. Enough time has passed. So I think it's good to study the past so that we don't let it happen again. Right? Well, if we forget, it happens again.
Well, and you're doing this, and you're getting to know, again, both sides of it, and there's no pleasant stories for anybody on either side, and you're getting a great perspective in sharing this stuff. Again, you're not turning into this is just your conversations with them,
conversations,
telling
the
full
guys.
story.
I made a promise to every veteran I met. Almost all are gone now, but I said I will not add any flair to your story. I will not edit out anything you tell me, honestly. So if you tell it to me, it's going on this mini disc, and I'm writing it down. It's going in the book. So, just understand that I'm not writing an anti-Japan book. I'm not writing a pro-Japan book. I just want true
Your
history
story.
that we just can't. And most Americans can't read or write or speak Japanese, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go figure, huh? So they won't hear these stories. They certainly can't read these stories. So I feel like I'm kind of a conduit to kind of help people to flip that coin over so they can get a better look at the other side of the coin. So got several more books coming out. Got the Kaiten Submarine Kamikaze. That's next. In fact, I'm going to Japan now to interview some more people about that. And 3 more after that. Yeah.
Wow. Just amazing stuff. So you mentioned Hiroshima. So we've we went there. We brought our family there. Well, it'll be 3 years ago this year. And that was like, I think, the last chapter of it for me, for everything, because living here, going to Tinian, going to Runway Able, seeing all the history there. And I was here for the 60th anniversary. I met Paul Tibbetts, shook his hand, got to meet him and everything here.
Yeah?
And then been to the Smithsonian to see the Enola Gay. So like, I got to see all of it. But being there was really powerful stuff. You know, getting to speak with people there and hear it. And not all the apologetic stuff, but to see what it is, right? And to hear from people about what it is. And then there's, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I have his contact info. But there's someone out there who's telling that story for whoever who will listen right out there and saying that that story is not getting completely told out there either at that local level. But you've been there, I'm sure, many times. But it is great. It was wild, by the way. You know, we hear about like nuclear war and the mutually assured destruction, all that other stuff. But to be there, we had lunch at a building that you can see is one of the buildings that was standing afterwards, after the war, right by this bridge. A couple of bridges down. It's got some ornate stuff sticking up out of it. But now you can just go there and have lunch and everything. It's not featured in any of the things. It's just one of the features that still existed after the bomb hit.
Wow, you've done it A to Z.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
Well, have you? Did you go to the museum while you were there too?
I did. You know, I went there. My kids were still like 4 and 6. The first time I went, that was a mistake. I took,
Unless it's changed a lot.
Well, that was a long time ago. That was probably 35 years ago when I took them.
It's very graphic.
Yeah, and we came out, and my son looks up to me and he says, "Daddy, I hate America. I hate your country. I hate your people. America's evil." And I was like, "Oh, big mistake, Dad. I brought him in too early," and I felt bad about that.
Yeah, I try to rationalize how we got to that point. Is, you know, to a kid that age. Yeah, it's terrible. Hopefully he grew up and learned a little bit more about it.
Yeah, he's
I would
now.
too.
He knows.
Oh man, but what an adventure! So, being here, let me roll back a little bit. You were saying you were working for Toyota.
Yeah.
In Japan.
Yeah.
So how did you go? Well, first of all, what did you do at Toyota, and how did you transition from that to this?
Well, before I forget, my general manager at my first big boss I had at Toyota was a man named Mr. Yoshida. And I worked at a factory in the admin section. And Mr. Yoshida, this is like back in the 80s when everyone was smoking, all the desks were lined up, there's no partitions, 4 people shared one phone, there was a rotary phone, it was like on a little platform you could spin around. No computers, everything was drawn by hand, written by hand, 1987. And so, you know, sometimes I was the only non-Japanese there, right? So I got some hazing from people. And there were some people who didn't really like having me there. Maybe my personality, maybe something else, who knows, probably my personality. But they would give me a hard time. But this general manager, Mr. Yoshida, would always protect me. He'd always cover. He'd always say, "No, leave him alone," right? Or, "No, his work's not that bad, stop it," right? Or if someone brought souvenirs, they go on trips, you know, they always bring omiyage back. And he would get cigars, Johnny Walker, all this stuff. And he'd walk over to me, he'd go, Dan-kun, you like Johnny Walker, don't you? I said, you know, once in a while. And he'd put a big old quart on my desk. So I was like, I wonder if he's always so nice to me, right? Well, one night after we had a Bon Odori, like the celebration, and the whole group went out in the summertime, and we went to his house afterwards for drinks. And he's drinking real heavily. He's really getting blasted. And he says, "You know, Dan, my father and my brother were killed at Nagasaki when the bomb went off." And I was like, "Oh, no." And I thought, what can I say? And he said, "So it's been really hard on me as a child." And I was just like taken aback, right? And he starts just, you know, he says, "I'm sorry for the war. I'm sorry. Apologizing to me, right? He goes, "I'm sorry, we killed all the Americans." He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, and his wife comes in, she goes, "I think it's time to go." So she thankfully ushered me out, and I caught a cab home. And the next day, Monday morning, it was like it had never happened. You know, good morning, and everything's all smiling, you know, we're sober up, working as normal, never talk about it again. But to me, I was really impressed by this man who should have hated my guts just because I'm an American. All the loss he personally had, he had none. And he treated me just like any other employee, even a little better, I think. And I just, it amazed me that if it was reversed, would an American person had treated the Japanese, you know, person, if an American man had lost his dad and brother at Pearl Harbor, would he still be his, you know? So, yeah. Okay, so back to the Toyota. Okay.
Yeah, and so you work for Toyota in the 80s, and you're the only...
It was wild.
Gaijin, right? So how does that happen? How do you go from Texas to that?
Well, it's a long story, but it was almost like fate has like, I'm going to put you here, I'm going to put you here, and then this is going to create these skills for you so you can go here. And it's just this long, jagged road to bring me to where I am today. Mm-hmm. And working at the factory was very interesting. I enjoyed it. I had to work on the line, actually, as a line worker. What was that movie? It came out in the 80s. It was called Gung Ho with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, that's a totally...
I was Gung Ho.
No way.
I was Michael Keaton. You watched that movie.
That is a great movie.
I watched that movie, and I'm like, yep. And my friends are laughing. I'm like, no, that's true. They're like, no. I go, that's true. That really happens. That was, I'm telling you, if you watch Gung Ho, you know what I went through. It was really interesting. I learned a lot. I learned how to read and write Japanese a lot better, right? And
so hiragana, katakana, but kanji?
I'm kanji man. I'm kanji man.
Wow.
I'm good to go. So, because you live there and you work there, you have to learn it. Even if you don't want to, you have to. And it kind of like osmosis. You look at a newspaper and you go, I don't know what that kanji means, but I've seen it before attached to that word, so it probably means that. And then you can look it up in the dictionary. We didn't have iPhones back then. Mm-hmm. So I had this dictionary this thick, kanji, the Nelson's kanji dictionary. I'm like, and I'm like trying to find the kanji and the qualifier. So that was, you know, a good hands-on experience, right? And like I mentioned earlier, that's where they have the Genshi Genbutsu. Go look and see, look at the problem for yourself. So if something goes wrong on the line, the managers don't just call and say, hey, fix it. They take their ties off and they march out to either the paint line or the assembly line or the welding line or stamp, wherever it is, and they go there with the engineers and they meet and they talk and they try to figure out how to fix it. And what I really liked about that is if someone made a mistake on the line, right? In the U.S., it's like, that's a second write-up for you, mister. 3 more and you're suspended, you're fired, you know. If there's a mistake or something happens on the line at Toyota, they would say, okay, let's sit down and figure this out. Okay, what happened? When did it happen? What did you observe? Was it a problem with your equipment? Was your gloves loose that made you, drop this wrench? And they look at the problem, not the person. And that was a totally different mindset. Because if you all focus on the problem, you get the person as well as the manager working together against something. And you attack that something. And the manager doesn't have to get angry at the person. There's no, personal and vendetta developing. There's no employee going to slash your tires. There's no employee saying, "Hey, I'm not gonna mention that scratch in the paint because I'm gonna get in trouble for it. So I'm just gonna let it slide." In fact, if you see a scratch in the paint, you have a cord you can pull, and each line will have like a different melody. And mine was "Mary Had a Little Lamb," and you pull that cord and the chimes start going, and then the honcho comes running up, point to it. Boom, and he works on it and he releases it. So hearing Mary Had a Little Lamb 12 hours a day for 3 months will have an effect on you mentally, I have to say. But it taught me how they work, how hard they work, how dedicated people are. And so I'm like, I need to put that into my own life, in my own, whatever I do in the future. So I thought that was a good experience for me.
How long were you there?
I was in Japan 10 years.
Wow. And where in Japan?
The Nagoya area.
Wow. So you're a fan of Japanese baseball then?
I'm not a big baseball fan. Although I remember when they filmed Mr. Baseball, that movie with Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck, yeah.
Yeah, I was at Nagoya Stadium. They had like a cattle call. Anybody wants to come see Tom Selleck? And everyone just went there. And we're all in the stands when they're filming it.
Now go ahead. That's Chunichi Dragons?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
My son and daughter, because of their mom, they love Chunichi, and they got a ball from Ichiro or something through a cousin or something. I'm not really a baseball fan, but I understand that people love baseball. I'm not.
That's okay. But I love that it's so passionate about baseball there. Like, so when we went there 3 years ago, I'm a Hanshin Tigers fan, right? Because I was a Detroit Tigers fan, and the first game I went to see when I went to Japan was in Osaka. So I went to Koshien, and I got to see them play. I'm like, all right, I'm a Tigers fan.
Wow.
I learned the song, all that other stuff.
That so much.
Yeah. And then, and I got to see it. I'm like, this is amazing. It's just great. I'm like, anyone who I'm going to go to Japan with, we're going to go watch a game.
Oh, yeah. They're fun.
Mm-hmm.
The baseball games are fun. Like you said, the cheers, the songs for different players. Like, players have their own songs that people will chant, and everyone gets blitzed, drinking and eating, and everyone's sharing food with each other. And it's a different mindset. People are happy, and they're joyous and blowing off steam. I would rather go to a Japanese baseball game any day than an American baseball game.
Oh, yeah.
Straight out.
So our baseball is boring. Like,
thank you.
And I don't. American baseball fans don't take offense.
Don't get mad.
You got to go and see it. You have to be there. There's nonstop action inside there.
Yeah.
And the saddest thing they used to do at the seventh inning stretch, they would give you this balloon. It's got a little streamer sound on the end of it. I think they stopped doing it because it's not environmentally conscious now. But you blow it up the big like wiener size balloons.
Yeah.
You let it go and there's a whistle. So right, so you got like 20,000 rockets going off all over the place. It's amazing. Well, now they stopped it probably because probably all this plastic all over the place. They're like, you can't do that anymore. But that was it. The songs, if you go to an American baseball game, you got your players coming up. They play a song, like a walk-up song to the plate. In Japan, you're singing that walk-up song, and it's just for that player. You're chanting for that guy, like "Kato base kanemoto," for your guy, and then you chant for the guy, like the guy. I got his jersey, Morishita, like Morishita, like all that kind of stuff. It's just exciting stuff. So. It's way you're not sitting back just eating a hot dog and drinking a beer.
Yeah.
You are watching, you are cheering, and you don't even have to get up to get a beer because they've got those ladies with like a keg on their back walking around, getting all the steps, coming right up to you. It's awesome. Draft beer for everybody right there at your seat.
So good.
Yeah. So anyway, you're not a baseball fan.
Yeah, I think because when I was in Japan, I had a really stressful, job and 2 kids, and we went to the in-laws every weekend, so there wasn't a whole lot of free time to go see baseball games, and you really couldn't take like a 4-year-old. It's not as fun, right?
And I'm sure your job was not 9 to 5.
No,
at
sir,
all.
it was not. It was plus they were spitting out a car every 58 seconds from my factory. We had 3 lines running. So if you stood at the end of the factory, you got a stopwatch, every 58 seconds a car was coming out. And you hear the honk, and they come out at the end of the inspection line. And that's when they were really selling like hotcakes. So we did a lot of overtime. We worked real hard. We made pretty good money. But I do regret not being able to do more fun things, But it's a good experience.
If the fuel keeps going the way it's going these days, maybe those smaller cars of the 80s will make their way back.
Yeah, I saw gas prices in Saipan are like $6 and something.
$6.61 a gallon now. Yeah, and that doesn't look like it's going down anytime soon. So right now, by the way, you'll see it downstairs when you guys leave. My K-van that I'm driving around down here is awesome. My Daihatsu. It's awesome. 3 cylinders of power.
Oh, those are cool.
Oh, it's so great. It's a perfect car for Saipan. But anyway, these books are great perspective of the war that you're not getting on the History Channel necessarily. This is just a really great opportunity that you get to keep coming back here. And so when you come back here, what do you do when you're here? You're just researching stories, or are you meeting with folks from Japan?
Mm-hmm. We'll bring groups to Guam, Saipan, and Iwo Jima, and Japan. Mostly the veterans and then the children or their grandchildren, to bring the vets back to see the places they fought at. And of course, the number of vets we can bring back each year is getting smaller and smaller, right? And I'm here this time with the Ambrose Tours, and they do a great tour group. But the number of veterans, it's just they're so old now. They're all in their high 90s, and it's harder for them to travel. But we have, I think, 5 going to Iwo Jima.
Wow.
And it's really, really amazing.
That's like if you were 18 years old, I mean, you're like 98, 99 years old already now. I mean, like, that's just to be able to travel and then to enjoy something like that instead of just seeing a sunset at a hotel.
Oh, yeah. It's strenuous, the long flights. In the quick story, Mr. Akikusa, he was on Iwo Jima, the naval radio man I told you about. Well, in 2015, we got him to go to Iwo Jima with us. And General Larry Snowden was the oldest ranking survivor of Iwo Jima and the chairman of the Iwo Jima Association of America. So I introduced these two on Iwo Jima. I got, to say, this is this person, this is this person. I gave each guy his own little background, and they started shaking hands, and they started hugging each other. And everyone was like stunned, right? Because people are saying, oh, what's going to happen when they meet, And I said, nothing's going to happen. They're going to shake hands. I knew it. I know how these people are. I know how the older veterans are, how they think. They've seen their whole life, and they look back, and they think, I survived. And they're grateful, and they're thankful, and they're gracious. So Mr. Akikusa says, he looks around at everybody, right? And he says, in Japanese, he says, General Snowden, you're the only person on the island now that was on the island when I was on the island back then. And we two are the only ones who know what it really looked like and what it really sounded like and smelled like. And I'm translating for him. General Snowden is smiling, nodding, right? He's an old Baptist preacher looking, old, really fine gentleman, smiling. And he says, I'm glad you survived. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he's like, their eyes are hugging. I'm glad you survived, So it was something that you really only see among the old veterans. And I'll sometimes meet like children or grandchildren of veterans, and they'll say, my dad was shot in the leg, and those dang Japs, and they have this like grudge for some reason, like they feel like my grandfather might be angry at the Japanese, but I will be, because he's not, so I'm going to hold his anger for him. I go, it's not your right. You can't hold that bitterness, that anger, that grudge. It's not yours. If your grandfather let it go, you have to let it go. So people who are younger, and they're like 50s and 60s and 70s, and they have hatred towards Japan, I'm saying it's misdirected, because your dads and grandpas do not have it.
They don't know. You can't. And I'll tell you that some of that wisdom from the folks when they get older, it's that, they can see it from a different perspective too, not just from being there, but knowing how the world works and why they were in those places they were, and that it wasn't necessarily of their choosing, and that they were young men wrapped up in a world at war that found themselves to be in the same battlefield. And they have a shared experience of knowing that they were doing what they thought was right for the people they thought that were worth fighting for. And now they just, look at each other at that age and say, that was us. And, and I can totally see it. Yeah. I get a little choked up thinking about that.
Yes, they're both gone now, right? And General Snowden, we were talking at the hotel at night, and he's like, well, how could I have a grudge against this old man? Because hatred always turns inward. And I'm like, true. And he goes, well, the Lord told us we have to love our enemies. And how can you love God and hate a person, which God made? So, pretty simple. And I think, wise. The older they get, the wiser. Hopefully I get to be that someday. I get to be wise like that. Now I'm not, but hopefully someday.
So I haven't read your books yet, but the writings of Japanese folks are amazing to me. From my friendships with a couple of girls I know, I should put it that way, but it's like poetic, like a regular message, and the way they relate certain things to different objects and the way they tell the stories, I find fascinating. And I imagine that listening to the words of the folks that you've interviewed
have to just like paint a beautiful picture.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, that's a good way of putting that. I agree.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Now, all these we looked. So we've been running a slideshow the whole time of the cover of all these books while we've been talking, and we got all these from Amazon. So I know that they are there. I look forward to getting one where I don't have to put my credit card information on the show for everybody. But I'm really looking forward to it. You've got a lot of folks, saying that they find this stuff great too, and that they're going to be checking it out.
I appreciate it.
I'm really glad that you were able to be here with us today. This is really amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So what's next for your trip while you're here right now?
Well, I'm still going to be looking for more tanks and more things to discover. I'm going to pop on over to that cute little island over there for a quick look-see. I visited in 1992 for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
Got my scuba license back then. And I go, I haven't been there since then, so I'll check it out. And then go visit some friends who have some relics on display. And I just want to learn more about what happened here.
Up north, it just hit me when you were talking about tank stuff. There's a hike to like a cave area called El Toro. And I know, so this is like when you're heading up north, like to Marpy and everything like that. And it's all rugged over there. It's like all coral and stuff like that. And you snake your way through the cliff line and stuff like that. But on the cliff line, inside like one of these caves, I swear these are tank treads. Now, there's no way a tank drove there, like not at all. But the actual linked treads from a tank,
oh wow,
like on this wall, and it's in there. Our family went hiking there years ago. Maybe about 5 years ago or something like that. And I'm like, this is so out of place. This makes no sense for this to be here. So I don't know what the purpose would be for anyone, like even as a defensive thing. Like it just doesn't make any sense to have any of it, but it's there. Yeah. And, but if you've got time, you've got my card now,
yes.
And you've got. We'll figure out like when's the time you're free to go and try to take that hike up to that tank.
That's a really good idea. I'd never heard of that before, and what time is it now? Can we go now? Can we go now? I want to see that.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah, let me just look at today. That might be it.
I leave on the 26th, though.
Yeah, so you don't have a lot of time. It's got to be pretty soon.
Yeah.
So that's your plan for today? Is you're linking up with some of the vets again today?
And we don't have any vets to talk to, but I'm giving a lecture on Saipan to some of our groups who are on Tinian today. They're coming back, and then I'm going to talk to them tonight about the Saipan and Mr. Shimoda. And I think I was going to say something about I forgot to mention my father's book about being a prisoner. I'm sorry to go hop in the DeLorean and head back about 15 minutes to the prisoner story. But my dad said the same thing about not hating other people and letting go and having forgiveness, because he was in a concentration camp, a communist-run concentration camp, not a POW camp. Like Gulag. Russian Gulag, right? Where 51% of the guys died in the camps from starvation, torture, illness, no medicine. They ate birdseed. They ate boiled birdseed twice a day for their meal. So a lot of people died, and it's just forgotten. No one talks about it. And as a kid growing up, he never talked about the war at all. Only a few times when he used to drink, and he would like get all angry and start screaming in Korean or Chinese, and we thought he was possessed by a demon or something, so we're afraid of him. And he would walk around on his knees in the dark outside in the backyard with his hands behind his head, like he's, a POW again. And he'd have no memory of that. But as he got older in life, he started reliving it and thinking about it, and he said, I have to forgive them. I let it go. I forgive them. Changed. Stopped drinking. Stopped having nightmares. So I was like, forgiveness is a pretty big deal. So I would encourage, all of us, if you if you hate someone or something happened, you hold resentment or a grudge towards an ex-husband, ex-wife, or a business partner or whatever, let it go. Give it to God, let it go.
Wow, that's great advice. Real quick, been here for a while, and I got to meet two people that I thought were really interesting. One was in Canatabla. There's a village called Canatabla, and on the way in, there is a small monument of an artillery unit, and so there's a Japanese artillery piece there, and Catherine Teuton-Puckett introduced me to this guy. He was the last survivor from that unit.
Wow.
And he talked about, coming back and he felt guilty to still have survived.
Oh, yeah.
Because the rest of his unit did not. Yeah. That was one. And then there was another gentleman that we met years ago who was a boy during the times here. And so he's got some photos of him with his family. With his dad was in the military and his mom here, and he went to school here and everything like that.
Wow.
So somewhere I have those photos because he gave them to me. That was back when Kanoa was Grand Hotel. I think they were staying there a long time ago. Just being able to have those kind of conversations with folks were really powerful to me. But you've been able to take that and really tell their stories and pass that on, where I was just doing stories for the newspaper. This is so impactful. And
any way you can share their stories with anyone at any time. And I appreciate this opportunity to talk to people who maybe didn't know about these books or maybe hadn't heard about these stories. I'm grateful. I really appreciate it.
Well, this is great. Well, I know we'll talk more when we get off the show and all that other stuff. Okay, just got a message from Gordon too. We'll start to wrap this one up. Otherwise, I'm going to keep you all day. And I want to start to try to coordinate getting you to see that tank that I was telling you about. So, anything you want people to take away from this? Any shout outs, as they would say? Anyone you'd want to acknowledge for any of this?
I just appreciate everyone who's listening. It means you're interested in the history, which I love too. And I also really love Saipan. I wish I could come here more often. But I appreciate you all for listening. I really do. Thanks.
Well, thanks for being here. All these books are available on Amazon. And what we'll do, we're going to end up posting this interview up on its own. And we'll put links out there to everything. And so thanks so much, Dan. This was really great. I really appreciated the conversation. It was awesome.
Thanks.
All right, folks. Well, hey, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here for a little bit, so don't go anywhere. Here's some messages from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Shiny smiles all around, where happiness is found. It's the little things that make it true. Shiny smiles start with
They're friends and neighbors, sons, fathers. They're little league coaches and veterans. They're people who love this country. These are Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers. They are removing violent criminals from our streets and neighborhoods. It's dangerous and difficult work, But ICE has one mission: to make America a safer place to live. And that's what they're doing. This is law enforcement. This is ICE.
Across the CNMI, businesses are developing their own skilled workforce through a registered apprenticeship program. Registered apprenticeship programs help your businesses build a skilled and competitive workforce. Paid, hands-on training ensures apprentices learn the skills your company needs, while you gain employees ready to succeed. It's more than training, it's an investment in your business, your people, and the future of the CNMI.
We see it as an incredible opportunity to partner with the CNMI Department of Labor pathways to get people trained in work that could be really valuable here in the CNMI.
They were looking for employers to join the program as it was new, and we made that call, and the staff at Department of Labor were very helpful and made the process very smooth for us.
With support from the CNMI Department of Labor Workforce Investment Agency, employers design training that fits their needs, while apprentices earn, learn, and stay committed to your company. Registered apprenticeships are a proven strategy for building a skilled, loyal workforce. We partner with businesses to help register programs, access training funds, and strengthen the local economy. Whether you're in construction, healthcare, education, or emerging industries, apprenticeships work. Together, we can keep our workforce strong and our economy growing. Become a registered apprenticeship sponsor today by contacting the CNMI Department of Labor Workforce Investment Agency Division at 670-488-2324 or email cnmiweowa@dole.gov.mp. This workforce product was funded by a $75,000 grant from the U.S. Department of Labor, Employment and Training Administration, covering 100% of the project costs. No non-federal funds were used. The content was created by the CNMI Department of Labor, Workforce Investment Agency Division, and does not necessarily reflect the official position of the U.S. Department of Labor. The DOL makes no guarantees or warranties regarding this information.
All right, welcome back, Marianas. Now we're going to get you the latest update from the Associated Press.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President Trump says the U.S. is talking with an Iranian leader, and Sagamagani reports he claims Tehran is eager to reach an agreement to end the war.
They want to make a deal very badly.
The president says his envoys talked yesterday with an Iranian leader whom he did not name.
The man who I believe is the most respected and the leader.
Not Iran's supreme leader. The president announced earlier he'd extended his own deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face power plant attacks. While Iranian state media deny any such talks with the U.S., the president insists there's an opening.
We are in the throes of a real possibility of making a deal,
but says there are no guarantees. If there is a deal, the U.S. has a plan for Iran's enriched uranium.
We're going down and we'll take it ourselves.
Sagar Mangani, Washington.
Armed federal immigration officers in tactical gear are on duty at TSA checkpoints at some of the nation's busiest airports, ordered there by President Trump amid long wait times. And a deadly collision at New York's LaGuardia Airport between an Air Canada jet and a fire truck. Julie Walker has details.
You can hear air traffic controllers from the tower, courtesy of Live ATC. The Air Canada pilot and co-pilot were killed. Dozens more injured, including flight attendant Solange Tremblay, who was thrown out of the plane 100 yards, strapped to her front seat, according to her daughter, Sarah Lepin, who told Canadian news station TVA Nouvelle her mother suffered multiple fractures to her leg and needs surgery, but her survival is a total miracle. The front of the plane was crumpled, the fire truck on its side. It was responding to a United flight that had declared an emergency because of an odor on board. Julie Walker, New York.
This is AP News. Seth Sutel has the AP Markets Report.
Stocks rallied on Wall Street and crude oil prices sank after President Trump said the U.S. has talked with Iran about a possible end to the war. The S&P 500 climbed 1.1% Monday. That was the best day for the index since the war began. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 631 points. That's about 1.4%. The Nasdaq Composite rallied 1.4%. Brent crude fell about 10% to close back below $100 a barrel. The moves in markets were even sharper in the morning. That was before Iranian officials denied that talks to end the war were underway. Seth Sutel, New York.
And after smashing March heat records in 14 states, that heat dome that's been baking the Southwest is creeping eastward. The National Weather Service says the southern and central plains will likely see temperatures in the 90s by Wednesday. There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
If you see something, say something, and stay anonymous. Call Crime Stoppers at 234-7272 or submit a tip online at nmicrimestoppers.com. No names, no caller ID, no recordings, just your info. And if your tip leads to an arrest, you could earn up to $1,000 in cash. Your tips have helped take hundreds of criminals off the streets in the NMI. It works because of you. Crime Stoppers, we want your information, not your name. PHI is your local pharmacy serving customers in Cagman, Garapan, and Dandan since 1996. Shop PHI Pharmacy for all your prescriptions, and we even offer a large line of multivitamin supplements. Our Dandan location is open weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 4 on weekends. Or visit our Garapan and Cagman locations weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 1 on Saturdays. Check us out online at phipharmacy.com or follow us on Facebook. PHI is a locally owned independent community Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care. Are you or someone you know living with a mental illness? Have you experienced abuse or neglect, denial of services, or discrimination because of a mental illness or disability? You have rights. NM Posse is the Northern Marianas Protection and Advocacy Systems Incorporated, and we're here for you. Individuals diagnosed with mental illness have human, civil, and legal rights under federal and local law. No one should be mistreated, denied services, or discriminated against because of a disability. NM Posse's PIME program provides protection and advocacy for individuals with mental illness and provides information about your rights, advocacy and assistance for eligible individuals, and support in cases involving abuse, neglect, or discrimination. Services are confidential and provided at no cost to eligible individuals. To learn more, call NM Posse today at 670-235-7273 or 7274 or email gborja@nmposse.org.
As the day unfolds with laughter and cheer, Brad's got the magic that brings us all near. Sharing tales of hope, dreams that shine bright. Good morning, Marianas, together we ignite. So join the palm trees, we dance through the days. Rhythm and soul in so many ways. Together we rise through the moments we share. Good morning, Marianas, feel the love everywhere.
All right, Marianas. Well, it is 9:05, and it's been a pretty good show so far. And so I want to say thanks to our guest, Dan King, for coming out here and sharing a lot of time with us and really getting into the adventures that he's been living and telling these stories of folks who fought in World War II here in the Marianas and elsewhere. Been just great. We're going to be putting that up again as a standalone that you guys will be able to see later. A lot of activities that are happening in the Marianas today because it is the 50th anniversary of the signing of the covenant between the CNMI and the United States, and there's a lot of activities that are happening today. In fact, right now from 9 until noon at American Memorial Park, you go to the indoor theater and they're going to start a documentary screening and a panel discussion that's going to feature one of our founding fathers, P.A. Tenorio. You don't want to miss it. Get down there and learn more about what else is going on. There's going to be more things happening at Crown today, starting at 11 o'clock all the way through the evening, where you're going to have all kinds of cultural displays there for you to see it. And tonight From 4 to 9, there is a trivia night for high school and college students, and you can register as a team or as an individual. All of this information is available on nminewsservice.com. So check it out. Tell your friends. Tell everybody about it. Just make sure you go and enjoy it. This is the 50th anniversary of the covenant between the United States and the CNMI. Learn about your history, folks. It's a great place to live, and it's going to be a lot better when you can share this with other folks. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for being here. We look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow morning on Good Morning Marianas. Go have a great day. Don't worry about that rain.